Hello everyone.
Hi. Hi, Anissa.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are
It's been a
you?
while. I'm fine. I'm great.
I know.
I'm always fine with her company. She's amazing. You know who that is? The legendary, the icon, Miss
I'm
Freda
Freda.
Payne.
Yeah, I'm Freda. How are you guys doing?
Before we continue any further, and subscribe to her channel, Freda Payne. I am Freda Payne.
Yeah.
She has amazing videos, and you will listen to her fabulous songs, of course, and to know more about her because she has many things going on. Since her hit single "Band of Gold," and she wrote a book with the same title, "Band of Gold."
That's
Congratulations!
right. That's right, Band of Gold. And I was wondering, I wrote this book along with a gentleman by the name of Mark Bigot. Mark Bigot is a very well accomplished author of books. He's written over 60-something books. And as a matter of fact, he wrote this along with me. We did it together. And because of the pandemic for the last 2 years now, that gave me a lot of time to work on it. So instead of us, he was in Tucson, Arizona, and so we did the majority of this book was done on the phone, us talking on the phone, and me giving him, dictating to him, and him transcribing it, and that's how we got it all accomplished.
So, Miss Freda, this book, "Band of Gold,"
Yeah.
does this book contain information that may rub some people the wrong way?
Well, that's a good question, because the only thing I can say to answer that is that if they're alive, or if they're alive, it'll rub them the wrong way. But if they're dead, there's nothing they can do about it.
Lots of gossip.
And some people that I've written about are no longer with us. They're with they're up there in heaven. Or the other place.
Like you say, R.I.H., rest in heaven or rest in hell.
Oh, rest in peace, honey. That's all I gotta say. Rest
Better
in
say
peace.
R.I.P. Because we don't know what the H stands for.
Well, and then again, I'll tell you this: if it rubs them the wrong way, it's because I told the truth, and the truth is the truth. That's all.
If you can't handle the truth, don't read.
Right, but I don't think I did anything
No.
or wrote anything malicious about someone.
Not at all.
It was just like, this is what happened to me, and they just happened to be involved in the situation, and that's about it. But I just try to clean. I'll say something, and then I try to kind of like clean it up in summarizing it, saying, well, that's what happened. But
There's some crusty details.
no one's perfect. No one's perfect, and I'm definitely not perfect. And I
you
made
love
my
it. There's some
mistakes.
crusty details. So if you love gossip, also, you would rush to the book and say, "Oh, what did she do?"
But you know what I have to say about my book? My book lets you know, as you read, especially women, you'll see that we're a lot alike. You and I, we're a lot alike. We've had, some of us have had the same journeys, and we have had the same experiences in life that confront females. So you'll see as you read the book and go through the chapters, sometimes you'll be able to even identify with some of the situations.
The tough road of the woman in the music industry.
Yeah.
That's not easy. That's not easy. So.
And the main thing is that I was a career person. I always thought career first. I never thought of, well, I think I'll do this. Oh, I think I'll just have this baby and blah, 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 and have all these kids. And, I said, no, I don't want anything to get in my way.
And you had your mother to support you and to always be there to make sure that you around the right people, right?
Yes, she did that.
She protected you.
And she did that, but I have to say, my mother's not with us. My mother passed away in 1977. And I have to say, I wish she could have even been there with me longer, because I needed that care, that advice, that person that was there to guide me and to, like I said, advise me and in a way still protect me, because she was very protective, but she was always there for me. And
she still is, because look where you are now.
Yeah,
You
she's
know?
there. She's there for me
My spirit
as
is
one
there.
of my angels. She's one of my angels.
Yes.
She is one of my angels.
That's
And
a
my grandmother too.
testimony. That's the testimony of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because she lived a beautiful life. I mean, all the people that she met, and it's amazing. The great people of the show business. I don't want to give name right now.
Right.
I want you to discover it, but it's like the top people of the show business. I mean, your mother was there. I'm telling you.
She was, and she got to meet them too. She got to meet Quincy Jones. She got to meet Duke Ellington. People like that. Of course, Barry Gordy Jr. She knew Barry and his whole family, being that we were all from Detroit, and the Gordys. They all lived in the same neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
The same neighborhood on San Antoine, Frederick. That you called that back then. That was the ghetto, and that's where they came from. Everybody came from the same. We all belonged to the same church,
Mm-hmm.
Bethel AME in Detroit.
Well, there's small world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she gets to know everybody, and she tells the story in that book, Made of Gold. Like she's telling you, Quincy Jones. She throws names out there like it's normal.
Yeah.
No, Quincy Jones.
No, that was my journey. You know what? It's some people think I'm bragging or I'm name dropping.
Yeah.
Your name. I said, honey, I'm dropping a name because these were the people that I got to know.
There's a history.
You know, I got to know because they were in my path, and they were there for me to meet and to interact with, and they liked me, and they saw that I had talent and whatever attractions we may have had for one another, and that was it. What can I say?
Amazing. So, good question for you, Freda. Could this book be a hit? That there will be a movie about your life?
You know, that's very ego flattering to say that. I would say, in light of the fact that I've seen biopics, Aretha, of course, you know, and Billie Holiday and people like that. I mean, if somebody wants to go to the extent of doing a screenplay and coming up with the finance that is entailed in doing all of that, it's a lot of work. I wouldn't object to it. I would have to be involved in helping them along and giving them, but it would be based on the book. It would be based on, if they just use the information in this book alone.
That's the script.
That would give them all the material to work on, to go with. Yeah.
Who would you
Somebody asked me that.
Yeah.
Somebody. I did a podcast with Sherry Shepard and Kim Whitley just the other day, and the same subject came up, and some of the people who like the chat on the side, people who have their say, and somebody said Rihanna, somebody Rihanna, somebody said Beyonce, somebody let's say who else? It was like about 3 different people, but I know Rihanna was one, Beyonce was another, and somebody else. Well, it has to be somebody young, you know, somebody who's like maybe in their 20s or 30s.
Of course.
You know, because I didn't have a hit. Band of Gold didn't come out until I was 28 or 29, so.
Do you have a preference?
No, I don't. I'm not, hey, listen, I don't want to go there. I just want to just enjoy my life right now and live my life. I'm not projecting that. If it happens, it happens.
Yeah, I would love to see that though.
That would be really interesting.
Is there a part of the book that bring up deep emotion in you? Deep emotions when you were in the process with Mark Bigelow?
Yes. Oh wow. But there are a few moments in the book, but that's something that I would say relationships, like in my relationship with Eddie Holland, my relationship with John Tunney, who was a United States Senator. And I think it would bring up some emotion, the part of the book, I think when my mother was sick and she had breast cancer, and I started to see her decline, and I knew that she wasn't gonna be, and I was pregnant. I was 4 months pregnant with my son Gregory when she passed away, and it tore me apart because I realized she was never gonna see a grandchild ever, and it was like a double whammy, you know. It was like I'm losing her, and I'm losing the fact that my yet to be born child would never get to see his grandmother, his maternal grandmother, and that's what really hurt me the most. And but you know what? I did good things for my mother. I did right by her. I believe I was a good daughter, and I took her to Europe with me, and then I took her to Japan. So she got to, and then she in New York, and she got to see me when I was dubbed a dame of Malta in New York, and that's all in the book.
She was proud of you.
So she got to see a lot of high points, but I only wish she could have lived longer to see more.
Yes, but you did a lot, and I'm sure she was very, very proud of you, because you're a success. All your life you've been a success, darling.
Not all my life.
All your life, despite what you might think, for me, you've been a success.
It's hard. It was hard. I think.
Every road is hard, but you success.
Yeah,
this is a testimony.
That's a testimony.
That's why I said you're a success, because some people will have abandoned along the way. You never gave up. You still.
There was a point where I almost gave up. There was a point, and it's in the book, and you'll have to read it. There was a point where, and this happened in the 60s, and it was let's say the end of a love affair. I was jilted, but it was a blessing that I was jilted, because the man that I had become engaged to, I actually had a diamond engagement ring, and he kind of like he betrayed me, and I was devastated by it because when you're young, I was still in my I think early to mid 20s, and I was just devastated by it, and I just felt like, I'll just give up and go home. And my father, Sam Farley, he was my stepfather, Sam Farley. He raised me and my sister Sherry, and he said, "Freda, don't do that." He says, "Hang in there. You've put too many years into this already." He said, "And you're good. You're really good." He said, "Hang in there longer." And right after that, it's like God just lifted me up, and just lifted me up, and continued to, push me up and keep me going. And because you'll read, it's in the book. That story is in the book. What happened?
Please, Band of Gold, read the book, Freda Payne. And Mark Bego. Talking about Mark Bego, what was the most difficult part of the writing process, and the team effort, and how was your relationship with Mark when we worked together? How was it?
Well, it was a good relationship, but I would give him dictation on the phone, and I'd be talking, and then he would transcribe it, and then he would email me all the stuff that I had dictated, but then a lot of stuff had to be corrected. So it got to be a little tedious back and forth. I said, "Okay, Mark, let's go over this. That's wrong. Oh, no, you got that backwards. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this all over again." So it was a lot of back and forth, and correcting things. And that other than that, it just, we talked every day.
Wow.
And we talked on the phone 2 or 3 hours, and then I would just, as much as I could remember, because a lot of stuff, probably left a lot of stuff out that I probably I skimmed over. I just told let's say the meat of the story, the most obvious things that stood out.
The big part.
Yeah, but there's a lot of little things that I left out that I could have put in. I mean, who knows? Well, I guess that leaves room for another book.
I'm telling you guys, I'm just opening the page. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful book. And on the side here, I'm reading it right now.
Oh, the
I see
forward.
some name. I'm sorry, but I have to tell them.
Okay.
So when you open just the book, my eyes just went, oh wow. So, okay. Her story is an inspiring adventure lived alongside the who's who of the show business, including, listen guys, Duke Ellington, Bob Hope, Frank Sinatra, Sam Davis Jr., Pearl Bailey, Omar Sharif, Quincy Jones, of course she talked about him before, Liza Minnelli, and Sarah Vaughan. Freda's compelling memoir is a celebration of a glamorous life, well lived, a glamorous life.
And I'd like to.
I'm glad you never gave up. Because you're glamorous. You're the symbol of the glamorous life. Hollywood. Really, I am so proud of you, Freda. I mean, you must read that book. Really, Bed of Gold. So, Freda, tell us about the author Mark Bigot. How did you meet, and why did you think that he's the right person to tell your story?
Well, I have to say, it's been like almost 25 years from the time people start saying, Freda, when are you going to write your book? When are you going to write your book? And I would say, oh, well, I'll get around to it sooner or later. And then there were other people that I kind of, in my life that I knew who were capable of, writing a book, or who were actually book writing authors. And either they were like David Rich, he was involved in too many other projects. Randy Tabarelli, who was a very close friend, a long-term friend, and he was too involved in other situations and other projects. And so I met Mark with my dear friend Mary Wilson, and Mary Wilson of the Supremes, and we had been friends since like the early '70s. But I really had met Mary in the 60s in England, but that was the first time I met the Supremes, period. It was in 1965 in Manchester, England, and there's a whole story about that, and that's in the book. But anyway, I met Mark with Mary, because they were best of friends, and I just all of a sudden I realized, like about, let's say, 3 years ago, I realized that I said, I'm getting older, and after a while my memory's gonna go.
No.
So I said, and I knew that Mark had done some projects with Mary as well. The last book that she did, Supreme Glamour, he worked with her on that. And he also, I knew that he had been the author of other books as well, Elton John and different other celebrities he had done books on. And he even did a cookbook, rock star, like cooking like a rock star. As a matter of fact, I've got a recipe in there for my gumbo recipe, my seafood and chicken gumbo. So anyway, I realized, I said, well, you know what? Maybe I would ask Mark if he's interested, if he has the time, because that's the important thing. You got to have somebody who has the time. And he said yes. And so,
because it was COVID.
So we started before the COVID hit. Okay. We actually started in the fall of 2019.
Okay.
And then when it got into, we started around November, December of 2019, and then when it got into 2020, and then the COVID hit in March, mid-March. And I had an opportunity to go to Tucson, where he lives, and visit with him for a few days, and kind of like we really got started there. And then he had a chance to visit LA, and he sat with me, and we did some stuff at my house. And then when the COVID hit, and it was like March 15th, 14th, that's when everything shut down. And so we started talking just on the phone. It was always on the phone.
Well, we come in good. Bed of Gold. So,
yeah.
Mark Bigot.
Yeah, that's me.
Freda Payne. She's beautiful. The introduction of Mary Wilson from the Supreme.
Yes, and Mary, that poor Mary, she wrote that forward, that acknowledgement 2 months before she passed.
Oh.
And I swear, it was like her death was a shock to the world, not only to her personal friends and her relatives and her family, but it was a shock to everyone because it was like one day you're talking to her and she's fine and she's looking forward to, doing this and recording and performing and going out on the road. And next thing you know, you get a call that, Mary's passed. And that was it. So
anyway, Freda, to conclude this interview, February is Black History Month.
Yes.
So what do you do for Black History Month? How do you contribute? What do you think about Black History Month?
Well, it is a wonderful thing that people of color are given the acknowledgement of their accomplishments. And when you think of how far we've come, I was just watching this movie that was based on the life and the killing of Emmett Till just the other night, and I just thought about how things can still happen, but not as horrific as that incident, but basically very kind of similar, and you can see things that happen nowadays. If a white person does something or murders a black person for little, let's say, very flimsy reasons, without going about it the legal way or doing it, let's say, going about it the way it should be done properly through the legal process, they don't get away with it anymore. They get prosecuted and now they're going to jail, they're going to prison. Whereas back then, that didn't happen. As you could see if you saw that movie, that didn't happen. And when that happened, when Emmett Till was murdered, I was 12 years old. And I had nightmares after I saw that picture of his face, of his body. And I wish I'd never seen it. And it just brings back a lot of bad feelings. A lot of hatred and a lot of rage. And all I can say is that we have come a long way, and there are people in the a movement who feel like we haven't come long enough. And that's true. There's still more work to be done. There's more work to be done. And as long as people harbor hate in their hearts, or as long as people think they're better than somebody else because their skin is darker or their eyes are slantier or whatever, you're always going to have this kind of division, and that's why we have to fight for our democracy and all the bad things that happened when, let's say, Trump was in office. We have to work harder now to get things smoothed out and to rectify and bring back to a normalcy what we feel is correct. Just righteousness, just being right, and just being fair, and loving one another instead of hating one another.
Talking about loving one another, you have a beautiful love song coming out soon. You're working on a new song. New songs, period, because she has lots of projects. Can you tell us a little bit about your new music? Because we want to hear the new Freda.
Well, I'm going to be doing some music with Michael Sutton, who is someone you know very well. Her dear,
my life,
her dear heart, her husband, who produces her as well, and we're going to be doing some new music, and well, it'll be out soon. So
hopefully late spring.
Yeah, probably spring. Oh yeah, I would
Spring.
say at least by spring.
By spring.
I would
yeah.
say at least by spring.
So tune in, subscribe to her newsletter at IamFredaPayne.com or FredaPayne.com. You subscribe and you will receive the news. And don't forget also, Freda Payne, Bed of Gold.
And also, don't forget about my CD that came out last year.
Oh, yes.
It came out last year. It's called Let There Be Love. And
amazing duets.
Yes, I did duets with Johnny Mathis and Kenny Lattimore and Dee Dee Bridgewater and Kurt Elling. And it is excellent. It's big band, strings, and it's wonderful. Good standards.
And you can get it anywhere. Spotify, Amazon, iTunes.
Yeah.
Also, you can order the CD, right, on your website?
Yeah, you can order it on my website as well. And you can get the book on the website and also
yes.
Amazon. Amazon is a good place to get it.
Amazon and FredaPayne.com.
Barnes and Noble.
All the book distributors, really. She's everywhere.
Yeah.
So thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to Pump It Up Magazine. You click down below, like, share, click on the bell button, and go to Freda Payne YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Lots of new video coming soon.
Yeah.
With some music and interviews and many exciting news, because the life of Freda Payne is an adventure of glamorous and Hollywood life. It's a big adventure.
Yeah.
So check it out. Freda Payne, a band of gold. That's it for us.
Okay.
Thank you, Freda.
Thank you, Anissa.
Thank you for watching.
Bye.
Bye.